Hello, everyone. I'm Karen Roberts, and we are here to focus on how not to write an analysis paper. Are you ready? Let's get started. Have you found yourself rambling instead of focusing? We have to focus with our eyes, don't we? And with our minds, And so focusing on the assignment is our first order in this class, okay? We have many moving parts, and it's important for us to know what we're supposed to be doing. So it's helpful for you to take notes on your assignment sheets. For example, the writing experiments have 3 components to them. Part 1 is to introduce the experiment and have at least one well-developed paragraph in which you explain why you chose this exercise and explain what it is, okay? So that's component number 1. Component number 2 is to complete the exercise and include proof that you completed it. So your written product or pictures or whatever, what you wrote to do the experiment. And then part 3 is to reflect on the exercise and its results, at least 2 well-developed paragraphs. So you should explain and reflect on how the process went for you. Did it work? Did it appeal to you? What happened and why? Okay, so what's the prognosis? If the experiment was productive, why was it productive? If it didn't fit your needs, why didn't it fit your needs? And would you use this technique again in your writing? And then reflect in detail upon your process and the results. That's focusing on an assignment. So for the writing experiment, many students who are successful in completing those 3 elements, many of them have headers and subheadings. And so they say introduction, part 1, introduce the exercise, part 2, complete the exercise, part 3, reflect on the exercise. And that way they don't miss the 3 components. Then there are the research expectations. Am I expected to do any research? And what type of research? Can I use general popular magazines like Time and People? Nope, never. But can I use professional trade magazines, professional trade journals, peer-reviewed articles? That all depends on what the assignment is. Now, you do not need to do research for your writing experiments. And then what does it do? Okay, we only have 8 weeks here, and there's a time crunch. There's a lot that we're covering in these few weeks. So it's important for you to know when your assignments are due and work backwards so that you are prepared and that you can develop fully your assignments and that they are polished so that you will do the best you can and learn the most. And then what are the keywords in the assignment? What are the keywords and what do I learn from them? So that's focusing. Now, are you proving instead of discovering? Okay, you're not proving in analysis. We want you to discover. So it's not about validating your beliefs. It's not summarizing. It's not concluding. It's answers. What answers? So what questions do you have? What do you want to learn? And it's finding answers and it's solving problems. So if you have a situation at work that you want to change, you want to solve the problem, then that's discovering. And so you have left those those ideas that you want to prove off to the side, and you are discovering and answering and solving issues. You are learning an analysis. So you have your topic, you have your question, your working thesis, which hopefully will change as you discover, you observe, you interpret, and then you ask, so what and what if? So you have your topic, you have your question, then you have the heart of the analysis. And then you make a claim. Wow, that's backwards, isn't it? That's analysis. Now, as a writer, I don't want you to hide. I want you to apply. Analysis is application of what you have discovered. You're looking for an unexpected similarity. Okay, so I have these sources and they're different and they're speaking from different perspectives, but oh my, they both believe this. They have both found that this works. Let me investigate that unexpected similarity. Or maybe there's an unexpected difference. The sources agree with each other except in one aspect. That's the one you should discover. Or the sources have omitted something that you think is very important. Why do you think they omitted it? Or they have assumed that the earth is flat. Why have they made that assumption? And then there's recuperation. Why was that idea dismissed? Why was it dismissed? And what's the significance of the dismissal? It's understanding and then contributing to that knowledge. That's analysis. So you're looking for these qualities here. And then you're having a conversation with the sources and you're saying, why? What if? So what? What if we did it this way? And then we have comprehensive. Analysis is not comprehensive. It is specific. It is very specific. So you have your ladders of abstraction, or you can call them wisdom, that is not specific. Ladders of abstraction are comprehensive, and they're hard to get your arms around. And so we search and destroy the vague. There is so much abstract out there. There is so much vague language out there. We're going to destroy that, as we talked about, in being clear and direct. And so we're looking at the data, we're looking at all the information, and we're looking at the knowledge that is slowly turning into wisdom. And we're seeing that we have many ideas here. And we're not outlining, we're mapping. We're mapping. Because if you outline, you already have the outcome in mind. You already know how you're going to prove your thesis. Whereas in mapping, you start with a general idea that becomes specific. And you say, okay, I know this. And oh, it branches off. And here are some of the branches of this knowledge that I have gathered. And here's another one. And oh, here's what I know about this. I know this much. And here's another one, but I don't know much about it. Oh, but this one, look at this one. I know I have 3 details about that. Oh, but look over here. I know about habits, and I'm going down this road here, and this is the one that I should cover because, oh my goodness, I have so much information. Or maybe I want to examine my mind, and I have all these different branches that I can explore. And maybe I'll come up with an analysis, something unique that I can contribute to. See how different that is than outlining? Outline is you have Roman numeral 1, your title, then you have A, B, C, maybe you have 1, 2, 3 under A, but it's all going to an objective. Whereas with mind mapping, you can go many, many ways. Okay, how many of us Google? I Google how-tos. I do, I'll admit that. But an analysis, you don't want to Google. An analysis, you want to research. And you might do primary research, and you might couple that with research in the library. And so we have an excellent online library, Armacost library, and you need to explore that. And there are tutorials to help you with that. So just because it's written doesn't make it so. So in peer-reviewed articles, the professor or the student, also there are students and there are professionals who write peer-reviewed articles. The writer submits to the publication, and it's usually submitted to two peer reviewers, and they review the article blindly. So they don't know who wrote it, okay? And they don't know who the other reviewer is. And so they're going down, and the paper is going through all these peer reviews before it is finally accepted. And so it may come back to the writer several times, but you can be assured that it is valid research. It may disagree with other research, but at least it is valid and it has passed the test. So that's the type of research we want in our analysis, okay? And so we don't want you to validate what you already know. We want you to learn. So studying those collisions is like studying the universe just after it was born. Exactly. Oh, what does that mean? Okay. So you want to make your sources speak. And how do you do that? You have a conversation with them. And you want to quote and paraphrase your sources. And that means you have to cite them. You have to cite them correctly using APA format. And then you have to include everything that you have cited within the body of your analysis. You have to include it in your references page. And we'll be talking about references a little bit later. And then you're going to analyze. You're going to analyze, and then you're going to ask questions about that analysis. What if? So what? I have all this information. So what? What can I do? How can I apply it? How can I apply it to my situation? And then you're going to converse. You're going to have a conversation with those sources, with the paraphrase and the quotation. And so you're not leaving the quote or the paraphrase to convince your reader or your audience. You are having a conversation. You're contributing to what the quote is talking about or what the paraphrase is talking about. And then you're discovering new information, information that you can use. You can use today in your workplace. We don't want you spending a lot of time on something that you'll never use. So choose topics that you will use today or tomorrow in your class, in your office. Okay, we're not summarizing here, folks. We are analyzing. Sometimes I listen to a stranger's conversation and mentally give my opinion. Okay, well, you mentally give your opinion when you should be letting that opinion stand over in the corner because you are listening and trying to understand why the stranger has that perspective. You're analyzing, you're saving the best for last. If it's another person's idea, explain how it helps you answer your research question. Okay, we're quoting, but we're also having a conversation with the source that produced the quote. And so it's like an upside down hamburger. So the burger quote was invented by Dr. Alison Freyberg, and it's just an amazing analysis. We all can get it. So it's like building a hamburger, but I think it is an upside down hamburger. So let's get started. You take the top bun here and you introduce your subject. And then you place the cheese, the source or the topic, okay? So Stribor 2020 in parentheses writes this. And so you're introducing the source and the topic. Then you're previewing the quote or the table or the data, and then you're integrating the quotation. So you look at that. You've done three things before the quote even gets mentioned. And then you're explaining the quote in your own words. And then you're asking, so what and why? Or what if? And so you're adding information to the quotation. You've explained it, but now, why is this quote in your paper? Why is it so important that you have included it, that you have given it space, that you have given it time? Okay, so when we turn that quote burger back right side up, it's like melting the chocolate in your mouth. We talked about that earlier. We don't like things messy or upside down. But you know what? That's how we really get to know our subject. That's how we get to know our data, our information points, and the result is amazing. Now we're ready to bite into that burger. Oh my goodness. Analysis is not a jumble like these Legos. It's organization. It's organizing the parts in new ways. Organizing. The idea has three components. One idea per paragraph. It has three components. It has the claim. It has sufficient evidence for the claim. It has warrants that explain. Oh my, all of those. Analysis is about leading the readers through your thinking, showing people how you arrived at the idea or the decision. It's complicating. It's taking the complicated and simplifying it. It's precise and tight and effective writing. Oh my goodness. It's not taking long words, but precise words, just the right words. If you try to sound academic, chances are you won't sound academic professional, or even scholarly. You will sound like someone who's trying to appear to be scholarly or professional or academic. So you need to be precise. And don't settle for spell checker. Do not settle for spell checker. This poem settled for spell checker rather than proofreading. So the easiest way to proofread is to proofread by reading your writing out loud. So I'm going to read this. You see if I stumble. I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes I cannot see. I ran this poem through it. You're sure real glad to know it's very polished in its way. My checker told me so. My checker is a blessing. It frees you loads of time. It helps me write all styles to read and aids me when I rhyme. Each phrase composed up on my screen, I trust to be a jewel. The checker pores o'er every word to check some spelling rule. Before availing checkers, our spelling might decline. And if we're lax or have a lapse, we would be made to whine. To write with care is quite a feat of which one should be proud, and we must do the best we can so flaws are not allowed. So you can see why I do praise such software for PCs and why I break into a verse by writing want to please. That was difficult, and I've read this several times. So grammar and mechanics and punctuation and the right word are very important. Don't rely on only your spell checker. Spell checker is a good first run through, but then reading it aloud to yourself slowly and listening is so important. And having somebody else read it to you. All right. So what is analysis? Well, it's not an argument. Argument's right to prove. Analysis is writing to learn. It's understanding plus contribution. That's analysis. And you know what? This gentleman is in Venice. Venice has many bridges over the canals, and he is delivering a business its supplies by hauling this up the steps of the bridge over a canal. Now, what do we see here? Titles matter a lot, don't they? So how would you title this? You see, this person here is probably a tourist because he's got a bag and he's looking at this person wondering, what in the world is he doing? Is this how they deliver in Venice? Yes, it is. So if you could draw a picture of your title, what would it look like? It sets the stage. It sets the stage for an amazing adventure, doesn't it? Okay. So you notice the different windows. You notice the flowers. You notice the people. You notice everything: who, what, when, where, how, why. And then you ask, so what? What might I come to bring to this conversation? Notice the colors, the oranges, the oranges, the oranges, the oranges in the pots. Notice what they're wearing. Notice everything and then ask, so what? Titles matter. You could say, delivery service in Italy, delivery service in Venice, deliveries, venue, delivery tactics in Venice. And then you could say, ask yourself, okay, this is really the old-fashioned way. How could Venetians deliver to businesses in the heart of Venice without using so much muscle? That would be a remarkable innovation for Venetians. So what can you look at in your office, in your workplace, in your virtual workplace? What can you see that might, how might we say it, that might benefit from your observation, from your unique insight? If you ask the question, what if? So what? I want to discover something new. So let's reflect on it for a while and see what you come up with. Let's meditate on it and rest in observation and discovery. Until next time, have a great day.